cameras? If you do, please take lots of photographs. Many people find that less flash will give you a better picture. Experiment and see what your camera can do for you. I'd like to start with a rather complicated question. Are you ready? What is under the dome of the rock? A rock. Exactly. Now, that rock has a very fancy name, Evan Hashasiyah. That means foundation stone. The Jewish sages say from this rock the world was created. Poof! Universe. Change its name to Mount Moriah, and now you're talking about Abraham and Isaac. Change its name once again. Zion. This is where many people think heaven touches earth. But wait a minute. I thought Zion was over there. Well, the Crusaders, you see, were not very good at geography. The real Zion is right here, under what today is the Dome of the Rock. Okay, fast forward a few hundred years. King David conquers a small city of Jebusite south of our rock, builds himself a palace, a capital city to unite the 12 tribes. Now it's time to do something for the Ark of the Covenant, the Arna Kodesh. Gold box, 2 angel things on top. What's inside?
10 Commandments.
The 10 Commandments, exactly. And that needs a temple, a Beis HaMikdash. King David wants to build it. He buys the rock. Then he asks the prophet Samuel. The prophet Samuel, Shmuel Hanavi, says, David, you are a man of war. The temple is to be a house of peace. You cannot build it. So David collects piles of lumber, marble from all around the Mediterranean, heaps of copper, silver, and gold, and plans are put in place to build the first temple built by his son Solomon. Sounds to about 400 years to destroy the Jews, go into exile, and begin the second temple. Did you get that?
Yes, of course.
That was first temple history. Why so fast? Because I can't show you anything from that period on this tour. About the oldest that I can show you is 2,200 years old. That'll do. And the Second Temple period began a couple hundred years before that, with a small temple built by Ezra and Nehemiah. That building stood 350 years. It desperately needed repair. Enter Herod. Herod was a king. He was a few other things too. You'll have to read the book. But he was an amazing builder, and he got the contract. Now Herod is not just going to rebuild a little small temple. He was a limit pusher, and he pushes the limits to the north, to the east, to the south, and to the west. There's only one problem. There's a mountain right in the way. There's a chutzpah off with its head. Now you have a lot of limestone. Turn this into huge building blocks and push them out of the way, down the hill, using gravity to build what might very well be the largest artificial platform ever built by man. This is the Temple Mount. And this is the Western Wall. Now, the Western Wall where we pray, where we daven, that's right here. 1/8 of our 488-meter long Western retaining wall. Well, where's the rest of the wall? That's what you're here to discover. The surface area of the Temple Mount is the area of about 25 American football fields. Now, Herod could build up to his standards. A stunning building most people think of as the Second Temple. This building stood about 150 feet tall. The wallpaper was thick plates of pure gold, stunningly beautiful. While this was standing, Jerusalem expanded from the very small city of David to a hill in the west and far north. People living on this hill built themselves a bridge so they could easily get onto the Temple Mount. We're going to begin our tour by walking under that ancient bridge, which, by the way, you're standing under right now. This bridge was built to connect the western suburbs, if you will, with the heart of Jerusalem, the temple. Tragically, this temple only stood about 70 years. It was totally destroyed. For 600 years, nothing. 691, Abd al-Malik built, he was the Caliph in Damascus, built a stunning building, the Dome of the Rock, right on top of the same rock. Just a minute. These are scale models. Once the dome was here, of course the Muslims wanted to be here. So did the Crusaders. For 88 years, terrible battles. Finally, the Muslims said, we can't defend Jerusalem. Why not? Because the city was cut in half by this very steep valley called the Tyropoeon. That's why not. The Muslims thought out of the box. And they began to fill that valley with very tall arches. On top of those arches, they simply raised up and built their city. Creating Jerusalem, one almost flat plain, much easier to defend, and Muslims pray 5 times a day. Now their houses were closer to Al-Aqsa, which is the actual mosque. You are standing here. We are going to walk towards the Western Wall, then we're going to head north. Always walking west of the Western Wall. We'll never take a step under the Temple Mount. At the very end, we'll come outside and walk back together to the Western Wall Prayer Plaza with guards through the Muslim quarter. Questions, please. Answers, maybe?
How big is the Temple Mount in terms of square meter, square feet, or?
I can say 25 American football fields, and now I guess I'm going to have to memorize the square meterage. Sorry, I haven't done that yet. Do you know?
I think it's 488 one length and 250 to 300 across.
Meters.
Meters.
But Eric,
It's not
because none of these walls are the
It's
same.
not a rectangle.
It's not.
Not perfect at all, not at all.
Multiply those two and
Thank you.
But like 240 by 4, yeah, that would do it. Thank you, that's a good answer. I could have said that too. Anybody else? Okay. Now Moriah beckons, I invite you. Please come this way.